Okay, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon for some of you. Can you all hear me? Okay, so
yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. Welcome to the PhD information session run by the Faculty of Management at McGill. The Desautels Faculty of Management is where the essential activities happen in the university related to management, organizations, business, nonprofits, big issues are researched and studied. So I'm very glad to welcome you to this information session. We will start with a short video that introduces the university, McGill University, and then I will go through some slides that will describe kind of our program in detail. We'll hear from some students, and then we will put you in breakout rooms to discuss the specific areas that you may be interested in. With that, let's start with the video about McGill University.
This is your journey.
Your time to challenge everything you know.
To resolve issues.
To dig deep.
To uncover truth.
Be the springboard that creates change.
Through access to resources,
networks,
and thought leaders.
Be the force that inspires change.
Through perseverance.
Rigor.
Strength.
Be the engine that drives change.
through dialogue,
community,
and direction.
Knowledge has no boundaries.
No excuses.
No limits.
Okay, welcome back, and welcome to the new participants who joined us. I'm Samer Faraj. I'm the PhD program director at Desautels, and you will meet a bit later our professors. This session will last about till 1:30, and it's divided in basically two parts. One is an overview of the program, which will give you some of the details about who we are, what the faculty does, and so on, and answer general questions about the doctoral program, followed by some Q&A that are general in nature, and we'll hear from students. Then we'll put you in breakout rooms where the professors representing the areas will be there to host you and answer specific questions about kind of the area that you're interested in. With that, we'll start. So a bit about McGill. You probably, if you're here, you probably know a bit about McGill's reputation. We are one of the oldest universities in North America. We just celebrated last year 200 years, and the university is recognized as a leader in research worldwide. It's one of the leaders in Canada, definitely a point of pride for us. We're recognized one of the best universities in any of the rankings you can think of. We have a student body that's close to 40,000 students, and we have a lot of points of excellence that you can look up on the university website. I will focus on our faculty, which we have been around since 1906. It's a faculty of commerce, and actually the undergraduates, the degree they get is a bachelor's in commerce, just because of that's our history. We have programs at all levels, a lot of undergraduate programs. We are one of the most difficult programs to get into at the undergraduate level. We have a multiplicity of master's programs, some very highly ranked and specialized, and most important, we have a healthy PhD program. We currently have 77 students in the program, and that that corresponds to a tenure track faculty list of a bit over 80. So a ratio of 1-to-1 is actually a very good indicator of the strength of a PhD program. So we have a multiplicity of academic programs in the faculty. We have a large number of research centers and institutes. We have a large body of professors, a lot of practitioners, but also the ones who are mostly focused on research, which we are placed in the tenure track. So we have, again, universities tend to pick and choose their rankings to show you the best ones. These are some of the recent ones for us. It's definitely a research-intensive university, a research-intensive faculty, and a well-recognized in terms of teaching faculty. So what I want to get into is the PhD in management, and that is truly why you're here, and that's my interest. I've been PhD program director for many years, and I have met and evaluated thousands of potential PhD students. So I can describe my thoughts about what would be the set of skills or orientations that are meaningful for pursuing a doctorate. So the first thing is, off the bat, I want to explain that a doctorate in management is different than a master's in management or a bachelor's in management. The bachelor's and master's in management are aimed at preparing students for life in the real world, as they say, in practice, in organizations, working in the private sector. The PhD program in management is different. That prepares you to be primarily a researcher, primarily an educator, and thus the focus is quite different. So if you are out there working in an organization and you ask a lot of questions as to why, or why are things a certain way, or how things evolved a certain way, or you face complex issues that may interest you to dive into more deeply, a PhD in management is something interesting for you. I remember personally that I used to be a consultant in the private sector before starting my doctorate. And I remember being frustrated that we would just move on from project to project and get things done satisfying rather than getting deeply into issues. And that irked me. I felt we should go deeper. And that is what attracted me to a doctorate. I presume you have your own path and set of issues, but at bottom, you should be interested in explaining, in deep explanation, root level explanations, better explanations of complex organizational phenomena. And a PhD in management is actually a great path nowadays. Management is a growing field, has been growing for definitely for the last 20 years. There are a lot more universities looking to expand their faculties of management. Most of our PhD students, and I want to say 90% of our PhD students place or launch their careers in academia. It's the highest level of the university. Many other sectors, their students end up doing postdoctoral research for many years, like in engineering or the sciences, or they end up going to the private sector by default rather than by choice. So we are unique in a sense that we can, as a field, we separate from the rest of the university in our ability to place our students in tenure track or teaching situations. For some of our specialties, you can imagine people who are studying like AI, quantitative methods, finance, and so on. The private sector has a high demand for management PhDs. Some of our students go straight into those sectors. Wall Street beckons, AI alleys beckon, and pay probably much higher than any academic job. but this is not what we train you for. Our PhD program is small by design and trains you into the skills of research. The private sector may value the skills for research, but it's not the typical path. And finally, I want to say that for a growing number of students, and I'm going to add professors too, societal issues have become more important, more visible. So a faculty of management looks at business and societal issues together, how they're intermingled. For example, if you're studying emerging technologies such as robotics or AI, you understand that there's a tight coupling between kind of societal rules, economic rules, how society is organized. Think of self-driving cars, for example. Those issues cannot be dealt with just from a kind of within a company perspective, but they involve regulations and broader issues. Many of our students are interested in issues related to sustainability, to solving chronic disease issues, making the world better. And I see more and more of applicants in that direction, and more of our faculty members, especially the new ones, have a great interest in that. So it's not the business school of old. Actually, management is a place where major problems are studied and looked at from a managerial perspective, meaning an integrative perspective. So why come to Desautels? Well, we are in Montreal, and Montreal is a highly international city. People speak Montreal, French and English, but French is the dominant language. We consider ourselves halfway to Europe. So we try to combine the elements of the European and US doctoral program. So in Europe, at least the stereotypical English university model, students develop their own project, spend a lot of time figuring it out, and then they come to a professor and say, would you supervise my project? And then eventually they find a professor, and that professor becomes a supervisor and plays a quality control role. In the US, PhD programs are more inclusive. They will take people from many different backgrounds, and then will give you a larger number of courses and seminars, and basically put you on the same page in terms of the content of what is being discussed in the field. And then you specialize at a later stage. So we like to say that we combine the elements from both of these viewpoints. You have a lot of autonomy, a lot of support at McGill, and yet we will offer you a solid base of courses and training so you can function in the research field. Our program graduates every year. Well, we take in about 15 students per year. And then to date, we have produced 243 graduates. We started in 76. So we are growing. And by coming to McGill, you will benefit from something called the Joint PhD program in Montreal, which is this collaboration between 4 universities in Montreal in the field of management. And they are McGill University, us, Desautels. I should say Montreal, University of Quebec at Montreal, and Concordia University. All these 4 universities, you can take courses and they will count for you. So we share courses. We even, one of the features of our program that you'll have somebody from a different university on your supervisory committee. So these things are advanced features that you will seldom find in a smaller town or in a town where universities do not collaborate. So the personal question to you, and I think that's the one that this information session should be attempting to answer, is this life for you? I would recommend that you look at videos online on YouTube that are available about the a day in the life of a PhD student to understand kind of what you're signing up for. We will have a number of videos on the day in the life of Desautels PhD students available, but they're being filmed right now, so they're not available yet. So one of the things is the difficulty that people face when they start a doctoral program is that there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know necessarily what you want to work on or what you are best at or what's relevant to you in terms of research topics. You may have been someone in the real world, like a famous person. I used to be quite a good consultant, and then when I started the doctoral program, I felt infantilized. I felt like none of my experience really helped, which is not true, because it did help me. I knew how to write, I knew how to work, I knew how to collaborate with people out of my work experience, but you did feel like you're starting a completely different career. So you feel like nobody, as you can see from the cartoon that is included at the bottom of the slide. It's a different field, it's a different world, and so your what you have done before may not be as important or may not seem visibly as important as before. The other thing you have to deal with is the ability to work on open-ended problems or problems that are not well defined. And that is the mark of research. Research is uncertain. If we knew the answers or we knew the path forward, it wouldn't be called research. So can you handle a bit of that uncertainty? And then, there's the working day. When you ask a PhD student about their working day, they will laugh at you. Is it because some work at night, some work on the day, some work on the weekend? Like, it's not at all bounded as in the traditional days when we went to the office and it was a 9-to-5 kind of engagement. The final point, and it's not a great point, but I need to say it. You may have been the smartest person in the room before, or you may have been, kind of quite capable and intellectually gifted in your environment. But when you come to a university, especially at the doctoral level, everybody is gifted, everybody is smart, everybody is capable. So, can you handle that? Can you handle that you're not special in the way you used to think you were special? You are still special, but there are many other special people next to you. So these are the issues that I think one has to reflect on in terms of figuring out whether it's your life, it's a life for you. So the PhD program in management. Most universities will fund you for 4 years or tell you you can complete it in 4 years. We seldom see people complete in 4 years. It typically takes 5, and the reason being is that if you engage in a doctoral program, you want a good job. You want to go, rather than go teach at the high school level or at the low-level universities, you should aim for top universities. Well, top universities is competitive to get in. And then, so you need to show that you are productive. So there'll be an expectation that you would have had conference proceedings, papers in the pipeline, and so on. So that slows your progress down. It's really not slowing you down because you're launching your career, but it will take a bit more time than if you didn't have to worry about publishing. But since you're getting into a publishing career, you need to show signs that you're able to play the game. So the university, on the other hand, would like you to get out of here fairly quickly and not stay for 10, 12 years. So they have a requirement that you finish in 6 years. So I would say 5 years is a good plan, and there'll be a lot of pressure on you to finish by 6. There have been some people who have finished in 4, but their publication record was not strong. So it's a range between 4 to 6. We take 15 people a year. This year we took 16. Previous years we took slightly less. We have a large pool of applicants. So if you do the numbers, the percentage looks low, but that should not stop you from applying, because people apply for a variety of reasons, some of them good, some of them less good. I think you should trust the selection committee to see the qualities in your application, rather than just be discouraged by those numbers. We have 8 areas of specializations, the traditional ones you can see, and we have a new area called retail management that just started a couple years back. So you will have a large set of choices. And again, these areas do not necessarily define you narrowly. It's a home base for you. It's the kind of places, it's where the professors of the areas are more like you, or you won't be like them. But your research topic can be quite broad and cross boundaries. So what makes a successful student? And forgive the cartoon, it's little attempts at jokes, but all jokes are based on a bit of reality, so we can smile about this. Clearly, having a strong academic preparation is good. You need to enjoy academia, you need to be good at research, you need to be interested in all this stuff. You need to be able to focus on a single research topic where you're gonna, make your mark, so to speak. You're gonna, you're not gonna keep going from one to the other. So for example, in consulting firms, assignments would last maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and then you're on to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. In academia, it's more, you go deeply into a topic, and it may take years to get out and change topics. So it's up to you, but you need to have that, you need to recognize that possibility. Most important for me are the ability to go from a knowledge consumer to a knowledge producer. That means something very simple. You are here at this stage of your life because you have been a great knowledge consumer. Since grade school, you have been able to sit in class, receive the knowledge that the professor wants to impart on you, and regurgitate it back on the exam. And you got good grades, and that's how you move from level to level and to level. Now at the PhD level, there's a break. You no longer, that's not the value added. Your value added is to become a knowledge producer. So there's a break here, a breach in the old model, and a new model comes on. Can I produce new knowledge? Something completely new that the other researchers in my field will recognize something new. So it's a transformative moment. It's not an impossible moment. It's not a very difficult moment, but it requires a change in mindset and a willingness to take risks and so on. So autonomy, independence, creativity are key. Your ability to handle feedback per the cartoon is important. And if I want to sum it into one word, resilience is the essential aspect of a PhD student. Everybody's smart, everybody's hardworking. You also need to be resilient, be able to take feedback and recognize that professors are there to help you improve, and they do it by marking your paper in red, basically. Okay, moving on to the program structure. Basically, it's 2 years of courses, and then you move on to the next stages. The courses will include courses in methods, courses in a specialization area, and courses in a support field. So for example, your specialization may be finance, you may take courses in economics as a support field, and so on. So each field will have, depending on you, which specialization you're in, depending on what you are trying to do, your supervisory committee, your supervisor mainly, will help you figure out what are the best set of courses that are there to help you reach your goals. A key aspect of the program is a pedagogy course, and that differentiates us. This is a requirement of the joint program in Montreal, and it's kind of one of the best courses ever taken. It prepares you to become a teacher. I've been talking about research, but a lot of what we do as professors is teach. And so how do you design a curriculum? How do you figure out how to test students and things like that? Very basic notions that most other programs do not teach. And it's every time we talk to people who have been away from our program, have graduated from our program, they remember the pedagogy course as making their life much easier when they had to prepare courses. So at the end of the 2 years, you take a comprehensive exam, which is kind of a defining line between, have taken courses and kind of being ready to move to the next stage. Most programs have also an additional requirement of either a research paper, sometimes called a job market paper or called a third-year paper, or some areas prefer to give an exam to test your overall knowledge at the end of year one. So it varies across the areas. And then you prepare your dissertation. That requires the formation of a thesis committee. There's a proposal where you kind of put forth to the committee what you're trying to do. They will help you and give you feedback the best way they can. You engage in the research, and then the thesis gets defended. And then you're free. We will bestow the doctorate to you. Important detail, funding. Okay, so it's really important to focus on the research, to free your mind. Experience shows that you cannot hold a job and do a doctorate. You cannot even do well, have a lot of worries. So we do provide you with a very generous financial package, one of the best in Canada, and one of the best in the world, I would say. So we give you 5 years of support. That's mainly a stipend, and we pay your tuition in addition. For international students, we pay your international tuition, so you don't have to worry about that. We will create a support package for you, a financial package that will include a variety of sources, including grants from the professors. Right? So typically, the professor who will supervise you will put you on their research grant for some of the funding. And the additional requirement we have for you is that in later years, you will teach 2 classes for us. And it's actually not a huge requirement in a sense that to get a job in academia, the hiring committees often want to look at your teaching evaluations before they hire you. So imagine you're looking at a job at a leading universities, and they want to know whether they can throw you in a classroom where you will teach MBA students or undergrads. And so having taught for us will be a big plus, because your teaching evaluations will be there. And for the first 3 years, we'll ask you to help with doing some TA duties. And again, the 2 things feed into each other. You will probably teach the class you have TA'd for, right? So it's a way to get you well established as a teacher. There are additional funding options for many of the international students. These are Canadian funding agencies. Do not worry about it, but you will be, we encourage you to apply to these agencies. And if you receive an additional award, we will adjust your award. You will benefit from these things. We also provide you a research fund to help your travel and your if you need specialized equipment, things like that. And then we have additional university level funding for data collection trips or training trips. And finally, we do give you a brand new computer on arrival, and you will have office space in a dedicated office room, in a dedicated PhD office space, basically. Our students have placed in many, we had a lot of graduates, but these are kind of the typical kind of placements. you can see that we have a presence all over the world, on every major continent. A lot of US universities, Canadian universities, definitely, a lot of Europe placement, Asia and so on. Some of our students did go to the private sector, but they are not the majority. There are a small percentage, and they've held really good jobs in the private sector. Okay, getting to the end of my show here. Admission requirements, basically you apply by January 15th. We typically require an undergraduate and master's degree. If you have a very strong academic background at the undergraduate level, and by that I mean exceptional, we could admit you straight from undergrad, but that's not the typical path. And then we require 2 letters of recommendations. And for you to take the GMAT or the GRE, we do not have a cutoff anymore for the GMAT or GRE, but we want you to take it because it is informative. Finally, the university requires a certain mastery of English that if you have studied in an English language university will no longer be required. Okay, so your main point of contact for the PhD program are these 2 people. Yan Shu is the program administrator. She plays a central role in the life of all our PhD students. We have just hired a brand new additional person to help with the doctoral program. And for mainly academic issues, you can talk to myself. Our contact information are there. And now I want to present to you 2 PhD students who were very kind to come and talk to. They are, I'm going to start in the order they appear on slides. Pedro is the president of the Desautels Doctoral Student Society, and Haniye is a PhD student who has been very active in also the community. So Pedro, if you can say a couple minutes, you can say a couple things about PhD program or your experience, same with Haniye. And then I'll come back and take some questions about general issues. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Pedro, you should be visible.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. So yeah, I was suggested to briefly tell you a bit like my background, maybe if that's helpful when you're considering applying, and what my experience can talk you for, why I choose McGill, and a bit what I encountered during my my research journey in the PhD. My name is Pedro. I'm an international student. I'm from South America originally. I have done 2 masters, one in my country in Chile, another in the US. So I got some experience also from the US academia before coming to Canada as well. And and I work as a consultant with some working experience. I'm interested in topics of diffusion, of digital technology and change of work. I chose McGill mostly for 3 main reasons. It has been a while. I'm in my 4th year now, starting my 4th year. But what I remember at the time, the fit with my supervisor was a very important factor for me. I was lucky to be able to talk to her before and to be able to continue working with her. But this was a very critical factor for me. And I suggest you, if your interest is not mandatory, but try to contact some people that you might be interested on working with during your PhD beforehand as well. Another interesting factor for me was that the management school had a very strong area of interest for me. That was information systems. You will notice that not all schools have the same organizing of areas, and that's something that you might want to check as well. It was a very strong school with faculty that I was very interested in. I was also very interested in faculty that was working in the areas of strategy and organizational behavior. And I found that there was an interesting balance between those interested in behavioral research, more technical research, especially for IS and operations, and more economic research agendas. And a PhD experience is long, so the place that you're living is important. And Montreal or Canada were very interesting for me. Montreal is a very vibrant city. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. And it has a very attractive technological hub that at the moment of applying was also very important for me. Inside of the program, I learned more. Like, I learned more from the work of other faculty, and I got surprised. I also approached to areas that I was not expected to through participating in some of the activities. So that was also a very nice surprise. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to be contacted by email. You might find me and other students in our website. And I think any of us will be happy to share experiences with you.
Thank you, Pedro. Hanie, are you available?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. I'm Hanie, and I'm in the strategy organization area, beginning of my 4th year as similar as Pedro. I'm going also to give you a little bit of my background and then why I chose McGill and the goods of this program. Basically, my background, I was like, I'm coming from a policy advisory background. Before I come here, as Summer mentioned, like I was someone. Then I came to school and I realized that I'm in the bottom of a pyramid. And that's also nice because you will bring, as Summer said, a lot of skills that will be good in interacting with people, securing research sites, and learning how to do academic, basically being advanced in how to do academic collaboration. But also you need to remember that there are a lot to learn, and you need to be humble and you need to be patient about your learning process and about how long it will take for you to reach the level that will be academically at the same level that you have been before in your other career before you join the program. So why McGill is basically a structure of the program is very unique. It can be very it has a defined structure and a certain good quality for every person, but there is some flexibility for you to cater that program to your own specific research. So that is very interesting, which you cannot get in the US universities. And the structure and the quality part of it, it's you don't get that as much in Europe because then it's very much self-dependent and there is nothing that you can rely on that makes sure that I will get to a certain level of academic quality when I get out of this program. And the other thing was the collaborative culture, generally of the Montreal Management School. It's very famous Montreal School of Management. So professors, universities, and students are very collaborative, which is very important in academia. You will learn that it is a very small community. People know each other, people collaborate with each other, and it is very important to have that. And the last thing, who I am working with, basically we have very, very inspiring faculty members here. Many of them are very well-known scholars. So, and you should check their academic research, their backgrounds, and so forth. It's very exciting to be around these many highly achieved academics. So it will give you the opportunity to reach a certain quality of learning and then have the chance to work with and learn from. The last thing is the location. As Pedro mentions, Montreal is a very lovely city. Many people are scared of the French language. It's officially French speaking, but in my opinion, it is lovely to learn a new language, even if you do not know. First of all, you can get your way around without speaking French, but it is always a plus if you learn a new language, and there is lots of opportunities around for you to basically learn a new language and basically be exposed to the lovely culture of Montreal. That's about it. And I'm happy to be contacted. You can find my contact in the website.
So thank you, Hanie. Thank you, Pedro. Very helpful. I think you'll find that all our PhD students are quite willing to talk to future or interested potential PhD students. So do reach out to them. And I would also encourage you to reach out to the professors that are in your area of specialization. I don't mean the general information that we will do in the breakout rooms momentarily. I mean, if you find that Professor X has done some amazing papers, stuff that really resonates with your interest, I would encourage you to reach out to them, to talk to them, send an introductory email with your CV and some information about yourself. Don't send like, hey, dude, send something nice, attractive, serious, and say, I would like to talk more. And most of our professors will respond in kind, and because they're very interested in finding good PhD students and people to work with.